I shall put this principal up and we can get started. Jan, can you be number 1? I'll be number 2. Gary, number 3. Lisa, you can read you number 4. Stan after Lisa, then Julie after Stan. Pauline, if you'd like to read after Julie. And then Joe, and then Carly. And then Coralie. Hopefully we've got enough principals to read. Jan, would you like to start?
Okay. The purpose of the mastermind is to learn leadership, build teams, and create multiple sources of income together.
We are here to inspire and challenge each other to reach and exceed goals.
Each member is committed to their own success as well as the success of every member of the group.
We are committed to meeting in person or virtually for 1 hour every week.
We are present. There is no multitasking or distractions during the meeting.
We are collaborative. We listen without interrupting, lecturing, or judging.
We celebrate each other's successes without jealousy.
Paul, do you want to read next? Can you? Pauline? Oh, Carly, do you want to go next then?
We are honest and participate by giving thoughtful feedback.
We are open and listen to different perspectives without being defensive or offering excuses.
Coralie?
Oh, yeah. We trust fellow members enough to share fully.
Back to me.
Jan, yep.
We are focused, but we also think it's important to have fun during meetings.
We are real and authentic. This is a no BS zone.
We allow ourselves to become completely aligned with each other and the high forces, one mind, one soul, one love.
Lisa.
Noble Goldman International is a conscious, aware, and engaged global community of abundance and freedom creators.
Our mission is to create 1 million millionaires who are free from the time for money paradigm. We are focused on creating multiple streams of income through masterminding, team building, and effective utilization of the internet-based platforms.
The mastermind becomes an opportunity for self-mastery, where the self-transcendent shift from the me to the we to the us occurs. As congruence and engagement increase, the world's consciousness is then raised, one meaningful and inspired relationship at a time.
Thank you. Julie, you have such a beautiful radio voice.
Oh, I'm so glad I got the last one because I love it.
That's the best one, Jules.
Yeah.
Very good. Thank you all for joining us today. I confused Gary a little bit today, but I'll give you a bit of background of why I thought it would be good to maybe revisit one of our topics a little bit, because it feels like we open the box, Pandora's box, and we have an explorer and we jump off onto all these different tangents, which is brilliant. But then there's still more to explore on the first topic. So I went back to review that video and I started watching them all a little bit, just a little bit, jumping in and I would have to acknowledge everyone who's been here since February, because you all look like you have grown younger. You're lighter, your faces are brighter and shinier and more smiley. And I really do feel like we've all evolved quite a bit since we've started this. So well done, all of us.
Very true.
I think it's my ring light.
And your new glasses.
And it's Joe's hair, it's gotten longer.
Yes.
And we have more shiny faces now too, so it's all good. The actual topic that I was initially thinking about touching base on was our filters and the HNLP communication model, which I might bring that up as well, because I think we all notice it better with other people than we notice it for ourselves. So we can see that, you know, if someone's saying something and it's like, well, you know, that's actually not what you're doing, but they are definitely in the space where they think this is me. So we're seeing ourselves through filters, and we see other people through filters. As you know, we've spoken about this quite a bit, and Gary talks about it beautifully, how we can only see in others what we actually are ourselves anyway. So I just thought it'd be interesting to touch base on that, especially having come this far all together. If you've noticed any changes in yourselves over this time, does that make sense?
Yes.
Yeah. Do you want to say that, Gary?
Sure does.
I'll just talk about some of the changes that I feel have occurred for me. It's been really lovely to get into a intellectually safe and psychologically safe environment, and just have a question or several questions asked, and just be able to riff on the information, like just download and let the information flow through. And that has built a deeper level of connection for me personally. So that's been really awesome to be able to tap into to a knowingness inside of me and share whatever comes through. And that's been really lovely to further develop that.
Beautiful. Does anyone else notice any changes?
That would be the biggest understatement that I've heard this week, really. And it continues to change weekly as we develop within this platform, which is just so beautiful and safe, as you said, Gary, safe and intelligent and beautiful environment to feel that you can let go of things or discuss things which will help you to heal, you know, and it's a process. It doesn't stop. I don't think. I think, I'm here. You know, no, I'm not there. The more I sort of kind of deal with or accept or see, which is the first thing, the more other bits come gurgling up through that wherever it comes from. But
yeah.
But it's such a wonderful feeling to have, you know. You might wake up and everything's on top of you. I mean, it's amazing. One morning, this morning, I was on a call at 5 o'clock, which was, you know, Dr. Kim's interview with Dwayne, you know, and wow, that was just incredibly powerful. And then after it had finished, there was so much power that you almost were reeling, you know. Do you know that feeling where you think, what? Yeah, almost like, I don't deserve this. I don't think I'm up to it, or what are these people seeing that I can't see, you know, and especially in me. But and you know, you actually have to download it and be really kind to yourself, because I found this morning I went, you know, down the gurgler a bit. So I just had to really just pause and you know, nurture for a bit to come back to reality. And here we are on here too, you know, beautiful. But I just think we're so incredibly lucky to have this platform, and that's all I can say. It's just like it's a gift of God, gift from God, and along with that comes kind of responsibility to use it well.
Yes.
And give back,
yeah.
and contribute.
That's why the reading of the principles, I think, is so important to set the groundwork of where we're coming from. And
after that, I'm going to put my pink hat on. You know?
Very nice.
It isn't. It's a horrible thing.
Don't start a hat going, Pauline will win.
Quite fun. I'm in the pink.
Would anyone else like to share?
Well, I'm happy to speak. You know, I haven't got here up until now. I don't know why. I have intended over the last few weeks to wake up early enough and just have not got there for whatever reason. And I think I'm going to say that in the collective consciousness, although I haven't been here, I've been here, or part of me has been, because as I said at the beginning there, I feel closer to God at the moment than I believe I have in any previous part of my life. And it's developed from being able to reach out and find that space at any moment within, to maintain a calm, to be able to just settle in oneself and accept that everything that's going on around in the world is meant to be at this point. I can only change the things that are happening in here. I can't do anything or make any great effect with everything out there other than maintaining that peace. So I don't know whether that makes sense to anyone.
Total sense.
But yeah, so I'm very grateful to be here this morning because I'm sure that in some way I have tapped in all of the other mornings when I've woken up and it's been 7:35 or whatever. And I've gone, oh, another morning missed. And I don't think you want to see me as I get out of bed at 7:35.
You know, Pauline,
We do.
what you just said was so appropriate, because, you know, I'll go back to that quote from the Dalai Lama that the war without will never cease until the war within ceases. When I was in India, the master would say to us, someone asked once, why is there so much suffering here? And the master said, where else would souls come that have to learn the lessons from suffering? He would say that this will be a place where this will never be heaven, because this is a place where souls come for deep, profound lessons that they don't get anywhere else. And when I've heard that said several times, the man who wrote Power versus Force, Dr. what was his
David
name?
Hawkins.
Yes, Dr. David Hawkins. I was with him in Sedona, Arizona, and he said the exact same thing. And hearing that from multiple sources, I thought to myself, well, it's probably true. I sit sometimes in meditation, which I've been doing for, I can calculate how many years, since I was 17 and I'm almost 70. So you do the math, a long time, 63 years probably. And I sit there and I think, you know, I have more focus, more concentration. There's no doubt about that. But at the same time, I'm still struggling to get my mind to still itself. I'm still struggling to get my filters to kind of calm down with the narratives and stories and relationships and things that I have in my life around me. And I oftentimes think, when will I be free of everything else? And you'll relate to this, Pauline, everything else but the longing to go back to God. When will I be free of all the other desires? And one of the things that always compels me and kind of gives a little tap on my shoulder is in the Course in Miracles that says, you walk hand in hand into heaven with your brothers and sisters. And I always thought, what the heck does that mean? And it means to stop judging others anywhere, like stop the judgment. Because I can only see through the filters of my experience. And this is where I think accurately chosen by you, V, that we have to take full responsibility. At least I'll speak for myself. I have to take full responsibility for the reality that I see, the beliefs that I hold as a consequence of my experiences, and therefore what I draw to me, and then what I see, and then what I don't see based upon the filters that I have. And I do a lot of relationship coaching. It's been quite extensive for the last year, probably because of COVID. And I sit back and I'm always amazed how two people can love each other, have children together, live together, and see their experiences as a polar opposite from one another, and find it almost impossible to build a bridge to mutual understanding in the middle. And I'm fascinated by that. And it's because of these core set filters. Core significant experience happens. We build a constellation of beliefs around it. Out of that, our values grow. Out of that, we actually navigate through life, having our values hopefully drive our choices and our behaviors. But we consistently begin to start building these models of reality. And in my own life, I question whether they're true, because I know that they're a construct. Buddha said it best when he said, the thought manifests as the word manifests as the deed turns into habit, the habit forms into our character. And then he says, so watch your word and your thought with care, and let it spring for concern for all living things. For as the shadow follows the body, as we think and as we speak, so we become. So if any of these mystics and these great souls that have come to the planet are truthfully telling us what reality actually is, we are this amazing quantum reality generator. And whatever we've created thus far is exactly what we have focused on. We have gotten exactly what we've been attached to and what we've focused on. And if you don't like what is shown up in your three-dimensional world, the first place we start is changing our thinking, changing our language, changing the focus of our minds, which creates a different type of emotional energy, which creates a different type of behavioral pattern. And then that begins to create a different reality. So oftentimes in our relationships, we have the greatest opportunity to see into the mirror of another what we can't see about ourselves. And I'm genuinely, when I have a problem in my relationship with Robert, we always talk it through. And I hate to say this because it's very embarrassing, but I'm probably the one that has to apologize, because I'm the one that's generally off. I'm the one that's seeing it skewed. And Robert's seeing it more, I will say, more in a holistic way than I was. And I find it just incredible that, that we oftentimes avoid relationships when actually that's the place where we can see the mirror of ourselves the most clearly. And so I am so grateful to my relationship, and anyone who's in a relationship, be very grateful for them, because they will shine a light into areas you cannot see. And when they're healthy and when they're good, they will give you insight into yourself and feedback to yourself that is very, very difficult to achieve other than being able to look at what my life is and how I want it to be. So take the opportunity. If you're not in a relationship, look around to your family of origin, because they'll reflect back something to you as well. They're really, really powerful opportunities to grow by leaps and bounds. And it's not easy. It's not an easy road, but it is a road where you get more insight. Like I feel like I'm like, I'm enlightened when I'm alone, because I've got no one to say to me, wow, that was really off, dude. Like that was really off. But when I have that partnership, it actually gives me greater insight into myself. So that's one of the things that I've deeply learned since we've started this whole process, is the ability to appreciate the relationships I'm in, to question my reality, to meditate more, to have more of a spiritual slant on my life, and to go deeper than I've gone before. Joe, I seem to want to call on you for whatever reason, because I generally do when you're too quiet. So what have you learned since you've been coming to these, my friend?
Well, I actually went into my emails and I went back to see how long I have been attending this session. And April 21st is when I first came on. And I came on as a confused, lost child, not sure what to do, what to expect. But if I recall correctly, Gary, you were walking us through some form of meditation to accept others for whom they are and to see their point of view through this meditation. And I kind of fell in love with you all that day. And since then, I mean, I've attended so many other sessions within NG, but so many facilitators within the community have just helped me grow, helped me find myself, helped me open my heart, helped me learn to forgive. And I mean, I think I've grown spiritually more than my hair has grown, Gary. But it's been an amazing journey just to see all these different points of views, as well as be able to share mine without any concern of any hatred or horrible things that others would say, you know, when I spoke outside of this community. I mean, when I came into this community, I was the guy in the corner that didn't say much of anything other than, you know, hi, leave me alone and stuff like that. Since I've been on NG as well as in this class, I have transformed so much. I have found my voice. I am finding my purpose. I am finding myself, and I couldn't even fathom how to even measure the amount of growth that I have endured coming to these sessions, coming to Veronica and Gary's, you know, mastermind. It's just been a beautiful journey, and I you know, it makes me sad that I'm going to miss next week because I got a camping trip. But if I get to better believe I'm going to be tapping in from my cell phone. So I just
good for you, brother.
Say thank you for, you know, just being here, being supportive, sharing your wisdom, sharing your experiences, and I'm so grateful. Thank you.
Well, thank you for sharing you, because you've been just an inspiration to all of us. So I really, really appreciate your attending always.
Thank you.
Jan, would you like to share what you've learned since you've been showing up? Because you've just been a trooper. You consistently beat me to the meetings. So I just wanted to find out what's happened for you, darling.
You'll need to unmute.
Thank you. I think I am much more aware of knowing that people, when I'm talking to somebody or working with somebody, it's a mirror of myself. I am taking more responsibility on with those thoughts. As I was talking with you earlier, I think my emotions are what I have to work with a lot, and I am accepting my spirituality a lot more deeply than what I have before. It's always been there, but I haven't really acknowledged it. So, and I put it down to what you're telling us, your experiences, Gary. It is amazing. So
Well,
I need to look a bit more into this, research the water element.
Do that, Jan. It'll assist you again. But remember, you know, Abraham Maslow's hierarchy of human needs and Gregory Bateson's logical levels, they both say, and these are, you know, two individuals that were very respected in the psychological community. And what their theories were that if you make a change at different levels of the human needs or different levels of the logical levels, that the very top level is always spirituality. And right before Abraham Maslow passed, he added another human need, which was spirituality, how you affect the larger system in which you live. And Gregory Bates would say, when you make a change at the spiritual level, all the other levels, like your identity, your beliefs and values, your capabilities, your actions and your behaviors, all of them shift when you make a shift at the spiritual level. So if we're looking for pervasive and quick change, that pervasive and quick change is not going to come from changing a behavior or even changing a belief. It's going to come from shifting how you see your life in the greater expanse of how we live. We are, I don't want to go too far out there and get 1960s on you, but we really are quantum beings. We are really these eternal beings that are spiritual beings inhabiting the human form. And there is so much more to who we are that it can be a bit mind-boggling. I'll say I've been working with this technique on the superconscious, which is more like the high self, and evoking the high self every evening before I go to bed to actually create and treat original events, memories from many lifetimes, imbalances in my belief, in my events that have occurred through time, this lifetime, past lifetime, ancestral influences from both my mother and father's ancestral timeline, and to heal it in my sleep. And I've been waking up morning after morning feeling like a notch or two more awake, or a notch or two taller, or a year or two younger. It's about working on these deep-seated things without us consciously needing to know how, but giving a direction to these other more subtle aspects of what comprises us. And I think that it is, it's important that we use every tool available to us. And of course, that super conscious is that aspect of ourselves. It is the highest quality of mind. And since that is what created it all, if you're consciously telling it, this is now the direction that I choose to go, then it begins to follow and starts to shift the gears. So start to go to sleep at night and just say, super conscious, will you please now do massive change, massive historical change to any memory, any belief, any relationship, any emotion that will assist me in living my life to the fullest. And then just go to sleep. This will start to become a habit. It's becoming a habit for me. And I find it a good habit because we're multidimensional. And the more that we understand that, if we studied any levels of quantum physics, we'll begin to truly know that this is the next kind of leap in science and in understanding. And Callie, you're absolutely right. It is all about intention, which is, of course, focusing the mind where you desire it to go. So Callie, would you like to speak to any aspect of that? From your perspective.
I will speak. I'm thinking faith because, well, that's what came to me, because I was in a situation where I was on the border of Pakistan in the war zone, but the war zone in winter for 2 months, they're not fighting, but we were like in a bus that was caught on this mountain, and it was very bendy, and they had to actually stop every 50 meters and watch one wheel of the back of the bus go over while the rest of the wheels were on. And it was, by the time we got through that, it was dark. So we were like shooting ducks with the lights on in the bus on the border on this. And so not once did I go into fear. And I say that because other people were vomiting, other people were stressed and needing to go there. And I just sat there and knew we'd get to our destination, which took like 3 hours to go about 5 kilometers around this mountain, as in the pitch dark with the lights on, because obviously, and so it took a lot of faith. And then the next morning we got up at like 5 a.m. to come back out of the mountain. So it's not like we had to just go one way and we're there. We actually had to come back again. It was a dead end where we went. We went to a cave where this Swami who was with us had meditated for 15 years and he was with us. So I had full faith. And when I came home from that trip, I had no thought whatsoever for 6 weeks. Not one judgment about the car driver being a fool, like nothing.
Awesome.
So I guess I'm bringing that up because you asked originally the question about our experiences. And for me, that was just full on surrendered faith with no thought needed, nothing to worry about. That's where I'm heading.
I think that's where we're all heading, darling. It's that place where we just surrender it over. I keep thinking, you know, at the as I edge up more to that wedding day of me passing over, I keep thinking that when we all have to surrender, right? We all have to practice this art of surrender, because at the very last moment of our lives, when we are passing, there's a movie of our life that flashes before us. I don't know if any of you've ever had a near-death experience or know anyone who has, but there is a movie that will run. And the master would always say to us that the last frame of the movie, right before you're ready to pass, that last frame is what your mind has been most attached to. It is a culmination of everything you've ever desired or wanted shows up in that last frame. That's why when we're thinking, oh, it's going to be like now I can just act like I want to act because I have all these years ahead of me to purify myself and make progress and do all of that. And it's like, no, actually you don't. Because whatever you're doing today is part of the accumulation of what actually is what you are attached to at the end of your life. If you allow your life to run amok, your emotions to actually cut you off at the knees and have you be groveling at the will of your ego, if we allow that to happen, that becomes a pattern that hardwires into our nervous system that we can't easily change. We change it by starving off the behavior and starving off the emotion and forming new neural pathways of more peaceful thoughts, of more conflict resolution skills, of greater understanding and forgiveness for others, that we can just begin to start allowing ourselves to accumulate another set of experiences. So at that time, that's what determines our next incarnation, is that last frame of the movie. So if you're solely attached to your children and your wife, you'll have another soul group that you come in where they're all incarnated again along with you, and that'll be that for another round. I don't know about you guys, but for me, it's like I'm kind of tired of hanging upside down in a woman's womb and then being pushed out and have my head crushed by the cervix. You know, I'm kind of tired of that. I would prefer not to come back here. I mean, I will if I have to, you know, all good, but I would prefer that I can have that last frame of my movie just be this deep desire for enlightenment and for a level of not being contained in the density of the human form. That would be my highest choice. If I've done a relatively good job, that may be exactly what I experience. And if I have fallen short, then I'll do the hanging upside down, head crushing cervix thing again, but preferably not. I mean, all of us have to really look at what is the legacy that our life is actually desiring to leave. Who are we? What are we doing day to day, moment by moment, relationship by relationship, to build that reservoir of desire to only have that one desire, which is that level of enlightenment. Now, that's not everyone's road. That's not everyone's path. There's no judgment here. That doesn't have to be what yours is, because wherever we are in our journey is what's perfect for us. So mine is that. It may not be anybody else's. It may be a few people on the call. Yours may be that I just have peace and I watch my children grow up and be successful. Perfect. What I'm suggesting is that wherever we are in this spiritual sojourn is what we're going to feel most internally pulled towards. I've been doing this since I was probably 14 on this road of seeking. And so I know I came in to do this. This isn't everyone's road. And there's no judgment on that, because ultimately there is no time, and we're all doing what we're doing here to get to that next iteration of who we're evolving to be. And all it is this illusion of time. We never miss the mark. We just get feedback. And some of us need to experience a lot of desires and fulfillment of those desires here in this world until we feel exhausted by chasing them. And that's part of the spiritual journey. Whatever it is for us is perfect. But if it is this sort of spiritual bent of mind, then we need to really look at every day, every relationship, how are we shaping that? What are we attached to as we walk around in our days, as we're talking to one another? What are we thinking is us? Are we getting offended? Are we judging others? Are we condemning others? Are we angry and pissed off at other people? How are we managing how we're engaging with the world? And I will say that the more love, the more respect, the more compassion and empathy that we show for others, if we're walking hand in hand into heaven with our brothers and sisters, and as Christ said so beautifully, you will know me by how you treat one another, then that has to be a pretty spiritual path, an active external meditation on how we treat other people. I remember the Dalai Lama was asked, what is your religion? And he said, my religion is kindness. And I thought about that for a long time. And the way I thought about it was, I can see that the Dalai Lama would have that as his religion, because ultimately it's what every enlightened mystic has ever said. It is through kindness and how we treat one another that we're known. So if we're carrying around a bunch of unreleased resentments, judgments, and pain around our relationships, and some of us may have the means to do it, some of us don't have the means to do it, fair enough. But what we require to do is go to sleep at night and tapping into our superconscious and saying, superconscious, I'm instructing you to heal the emotions, the beliefs, the memories, the withheld communication from any relationship this lifetime, past lifetime, or anything influencing me from my ancestral past, mother and fathers, so that I can live my fullest life free of impediments. And when we do that every night, things begin to change, because we are telling this universal principle where we desire to go. And that's fundamentally freedom for ourselves. Okay. Does anyone else want to share?
I was going to get Stan to pipe up, but he's disappeared.
Well, Stan has got all those little young'uns running around. He has to
Yeah, probably.
harvest. Kate or Corelli or Lady Linda, would you like to share anything that is occurring for you? Anything that has happened since you've been joining the group? We'd love to hear from you if you would.
Sure.
Go for it, Kate.
I'd be happy to share.
Please.
Okay, so can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. Basically, a lot has happened. I'm in a different time zone. We're in Queensland now, and I mucked up the timing this morning. Sorry about that. My late husband's mum passed away, and he, out of spite, didn't tell us for a week. So I'm bitter and upset about that. And it's brought a lot of upset, past, bitter, angry things to the surface. So I'm going through a lot at the moment. I'm also really exhausted because, as you said, sleep is important, which is shown so true to me lately. We didn't get sleep for I didn't get sleep for 3 nights straight. So I'm really out of whack. I'm really low, really depressed, and I'm in a sad place. And I'm seeing, the biggest thing I'm seeing is it's all about timing. I keep getting told everywhere I go, you need to rest, you need to sleep. And I know, and I'm trying really hard to reconnect with sleep pattern. So it's all out of whack and everything's gone everywhere. So I'm trying to hang on, and everything's just snowballing. So I'm just one thing at a time sort of thing, keeping it simple. Yeah, that's where I'm at.
So think about this, Kate, for just a minute. If you were to look at all the things that are occurring in your life right now, and I'm just going to invite you to just play along. Are you willing?
Sure, yes.
Okay. So, you know, all the things that are snowballing, all these multiple things that are snowballing with you right now, if that feeling of being overwhelmed, and this is going to be more of a closed eye thing. So you can just close your eyes, darling. Don't write. Be in this moment right now. So just allow your eyes to close when you're ready, and anybody else that'd like to follow along, you're more than welcome to. So I'd like you to just think of that feeling of absolute overwhelm and where its home is in your body. And when you've identified that location, nod your head. Great. So I'd like you to drop your attention behind your 2 eyes down to that place in your body. And where in your body is this feeling at? Where is its home? On your right shoulder. Okay. So Kate, can you still hear me? Just nod your head. Great. So allow your focus to be there. Close your eyes. Allow your focus to be there. If that feeling could take a form, what would it look like?
Big red ball.
Big red ball. Keep your eyes closed as we go through this. So it's a big red ball. So what I'm going to invite you to do is we want to be able to diminish this sensation, this sort of metaphor for the symbolic representation of all these things snowballing. So it's this big red ball located by your right shoulder. I'm going to ask you to expand this big red ball, if you would, and expand it to the size of the room you're sitting in. And just nod your head when you've done that in your imagination. And do it very quickly. Great. Now expand it to the size of Queensland. Let me know when it's expanded to that degree. Nod your head when you've done that. Use your imagination. Expand it to the size of Queensland.
Okay. Yes.
Now expand it to the size of Australia. Really push it out there and expand it. It'll become a little bit more ephemeral when you do that. Now expand, and you've done it to Australia. Now expand it out to be the size of the planet. Expand it out that far.
Yep.
Now that you know that you can change it, I want you to shrink it down to the size of a grain of sand, because it's all within the power of your mind. Shrink it to the size of a grain of sand. Nod your head when you've done that. Very good. Now move it from its location on your right shoulder down your torso, down to your right leg, down to your right knee, down to your right toe. Let me know when it's at your right toe. Now have it leap out of your body, out to the nearest body of water, out to the Atlantic Ocean, and have it move to the Atlantic Ocean at lightning speed and drop down to take its place with the other grains of sand at the bottom of the ocean. Nod your head when it's there. Nod your head when it's there in your imagination. Is it there, Kate? That's a yes or no?
Yes.
Very good. Now you've got an inner healer. This is a part of you that is that super conscious part of you, the highest aspect, your high self, the part that heals all things, the heart, the body, it heals everything. It is your inner healer. Locate in your imagination, where is the home of this higher part of you? And nod your head when you have that location in your body.
My reception's bad.
It is a bit, that's fine. Just
Can
let me
you
know
repeat the
when you,
last thing?
just let me know when you have that location. Just do your best, darling. Great. Ask that part of you that represents your inner healer to take a form. Let me know what it looks like.
The heart.
Very good. Allow your eyes to stay closed. Now, is that heart a certain color? Is it a red heart? Is it a gold heart? What color heart is it?
It's like a pale skin, like cream color.
Very good. I'm going to ask you to move that heart, ask the inner healer to go to the area where that old form used to be and take its residence there and allow the inner healer to do the healing work required in that area of your body with that aspect of what your mind created. And notice just what begins to happen. And nod your head when you feel it's complete. Very good. So what I'm going to suggest to you, Kate, is just allow your superconscious to continue to treat and create a massive change in your personal history around past relationships, around memories, around beliefs that have affected you up to this point in time. And imagine that that healing can be represented like a golden liquid, as if it could spread from the top of your head down through every single muscle of your body, every single cell from the top of your head, all the way down to the bottom of your feet. And just nod your head when you have a sense that that is beginning to create that treatment. Very good. So what I'm going to suggest is for you to simply stay in this state of imagination of your body being able to release and be purified from all the thoughts you've thought, from all the actions of others. They're doing what they're doing. You make up what you make up about it. And what we make up about it is what actually causes us the greatest amount of pain and suffering. So now it's time we make up something different, and that we begin to start looking at it from a perspective of not taking it personally, not being a victim of others, but being a creator of what we're choosing to have our life be represented by and what we're choosing to feel in every moment of our day, because we are the creators of our own reality. And when we stay in that space, we become lighter and lighter and lighter. So I just want to thank you very much, Kate, for just letting us just kind of explore a little bit. And I appreciate your willingness and your courage to do this. So just keep these kind of visuals in your mind, and we'll see where you are next week. Do you feel a little bit better, darling?
Immensely, thank you.
You're very welcome. Gang, is there anyone? Well, let's do this. Let's leave our call today like we do every call. Let's leave our call today with a word or a sentence that we want to leave from our experience tonight to benefit one another for the rest of the week. Some verbal anchor of encouragement, some verbal anchor of ourselves that we want to give to other people. So Lisa, would you like to start, darling?
My word is creation.
Beautiful. Jules?
You unmute, darling. Julie?
Heal.
Pauline?
Joy.
Caroline?
Ask for massive change.
Beauty. Joe?
Raise your vibration so others can see how to raise theirs.
Nice. And the man?
Mine's kindness.
Very good. Tony?
Love yourself and love the world.
Thank you. Lady Linda?
Connection.
Thank you. V?
Unconditional love.
I think I got everyone.
Jan?
Yeah, I got Stan.
Jan?
How can I? Oh, Jan. Yes, Jan, where are you?
Mine would be peace.
And
Nice.
Peace.
Oh, and Callie. Oh my God, I missed all kinds of people. I missed Kate. Sorry. Callie?
Mine's peace as well.
Thank you, Callie.
So
Kate?
be the peace.
Thank you, darling. You know that one well. Kate?
Desires in your mind.
Nice. So, gang, I'm feeling pretty complete.
Gary, what's your word?
Oh my. I guess I need to. I'm gonna say this one thing. It's persistence for me. Persistence of staying in this space of keeping myself awake. So I'm going to thank everyone for showing up tonight. It was so good to see you, Pauline. It brings back such fond memories of you and Robin and all those wild days in Perth that we had. And so good to see Lisa and the gang. It's like, I really appreciate it because V and Pauline was my promoter for many years in Perth. So we just have a lot of history, and she just was so awesome at that, and really had a lot to do with putting me in front of people that we could help create more of a community around. So it's been really awesome, and I've been forever eternally grateful to you, Pauline, for that.
Gary,
So-
I think we all just want to say thank you very much for that process as well. That was beautiful.
Mm.
Thank you.
Yeah, I mean that's a really easy one, and we'll do more as we go. But if people, I really want to say this, if people have if they come on a call and they're really stuck, part of this whole reason for the community is to help each other get unstuck. So if you come into the call and you really feel like, if I could just get 15 minutes of some kind of intervention to unstick me, I would be so much better. Say that, bring up what's happening. Like Kate was really courageous when she said she was so, stuck in this thing. And, it's really, really important that we support each other. Ultimately, at the end of the day, this is what this mastermind group is for, is to support each other. We do this free. We do this, out of the goodness of our hearts. We do this because it's the right thing to do. So if at any point in time you feel like you're super stuck, I will do my best to help. Or someone else on the call will do their best to help. We have some really incredible healers on the call, and it's not just me, that's for sure. And there's multiple things that we can all contribute to that. So God bless you all. Thank you so much for coming tonight. And we will see you next week. Bright-eyed and bushy-tailed in Australia. For me, it's at the end of my day here in North America. I know, Joe, I think you're the only other Yank on the call. But
8 p.m.
Yeah.
It's 8 p.m. for me, so I'm a little bit later than you.
Say again?
Tony Lee is as well. He's in.
Oh, Tony. Okay, great. Oh, that's right, Tony. You are from here. Yeah. Yeah, there's 3 of us. Okay, gang. You have a wonderful night. Thank you so much, as always, V, for your inspiration, your direction, and how you put me in a corral and make me speak. Give me a topic. I love it. Tell you the truth. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Gary. Thank you, Gary, especially for the subconscious pattern that we could use before we go to sleep. I think that's a really, really lovely thing to do.
Yeah, let's all experiment with it and see what kind of changes start to happen for us. I think it'd be awesome. Okay, God bless you all. See you later.
Thank you, Gary. Thank you, V.
Bye-bye.
Thanks, everybody. Great to see you guys.
Thank you. Bye.